Hello ABSA families. Welcome to our video series, How to Do a Basic Ballet Face for Stage. I'm Ashley Fuchs, Head Makeup Consultant, and today we're going to be focusing on your CB dancers, the younger CB grades, maybe CB1 through CB4, 5. And so today I'm going to be using my daughter Sophie as a model. And the first thing I wanted to do is show you what I have set up for all of my supplies. I have obviously provided everybody with an itemized list of the different colors that we recommend. We went with basic colors that anybody can get that would fit any budget. I went to Target. So if you haven't gotten that list, see Melissa Fennelly, and she'll be able to provide that for you. So before we get started, I always set up all of my tools, and as you can see here, I've laid out my neutral eyeshadows and my foundation. I also have a brush set, and I like to put that out. Having a brush set is a really important way to get that professional look. You only ever need to buy one. And then over here, I have my bronzer and my blush, my mascara and my liquid liner, and I've also set out my bright blue-red lipstick and my lip liner because I do prefer to use a lip liner. I also have a black eyeliner there, which I tend to use both eyeliner and liquid liner, but you can choose to use whichever tool you're more comfortable with. I'm going to show you how to use both. Okay, this is Sophie. Say hi to everybody.
Hi to everybody.
Okay, so the very first thing that I'm going to do is have Sophie wash her face and moisturize it, which she's already done. And because you always want to have a clean and moisturized face before you put makeup on. It will always make the makeup go on smoother. So the very first thing that we do when we're doing makeup is mascara. And I know this kind of defies everyone's conventional wisdom because you think that mascara is the very last thing that we do when we put makeup on. Now Sophie, obviously this is not Sophie's first rodeo. She has been doing this with me for years and she knows the drill. But your own daughters, this may be their first time they have to experience you putting mascara on them. So what I always tell Sophie to do is to fixate on a point on my face, whether she picks my nose or whether she picks anywhere where you get her looking straight, not up, not completely down, but you want her eyes to kind of like having her look at my chin, because I don't know, it's hard. I'm going to turn the camera a little bit. Right now I'm down on the ground here. You want her eyes so that her lashes are kind of at half mast. So let's turn to the camera just a little bit so everyone can see. So Sophie, you look at me and I want you to look at my chin. Good, so that everyone can see that your lashes are kind of like halfway down. And then if you have a nervous child, if your child's a little bit younger and they have a hard time with mascara, what I do is I kind of sometimes promise them, I'm not going to poke you in the eye, and then I kind of hold the wand right there and I let them blink down it. So when Sophie was a little bit younger and she was getting used to this process, I would just kind of say, all right, blink, blink, blink. But now Sophie's pretty expert at this. In fact, I think she's going to be learning how to do her own makeup this year, which by 12 years of age, these girls should be learning how to do their own makeup. So what you ideally want to do as they get better at sitting for mascara is you want them to, if they have the kind of trust that she does where I can really sit there and get my wand in there, I'm kind of like jiggling it back and forth so I can really get a good coverage in there. I'm not, poking her eye. Once I kind of establish that we're not poking her in the eye, then I can kind of wiggle, zigzag back and forth. That not only gives it good coverage, and see, I got her just a little bit, I surprised her. And this is exactly why we do mascara first, because I am getting a little bit of mascara on her eye. It's kind of getting all over the place. You want to make sure that you can really get good coverage and kind of mess it up a little bit, and then go back in afterwards and clean it up. If I had done a full face of makeup on Sophie and then suddenly wanted to go in, and put the mascara on, I'd be getting black dots everywhere. So I am not ambidextrous. I cannot then suddenly whip to my left hand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to back you up just a little bit so that people can see us a little bit better. There we go. Sorry if that was irritating. What I'm going to do is just say, my hand's going to be on your cheek there, and I'm going to have you do the same thing where you look down at my chin. Great. That's the perfect spot. All right. It's perfectly, all right, you need to look a little bit higher. Good, there, because don't be surprised if you need to have them look in a slightly different direction while you switch sides, because you're obviously crossing their face and you don't want to get mascara all over their nose. But again, nothing is on their face. So even if you did get mascara all over in their nose, that's perfectly okay. You can get mascara all over their face to try to get this on. You want a really good mascara coverage so that their eyes stand out nicely. All right. You're doing great, Sophie.
Surprise eyes.
Yeah, well, you don't want to open your eyes too wide at this point because, see, you just opened your eyes a little bit wide, and Sophie's got really long lashes, so when she tries to give me the surprise eyes, we end up getting it all over the top of her eyes here. So, you know, take as many layers and as you need, and now we have to do kind of more of the surprise eyes. So what I want to do is I want Sophie to, I'm going to do the bottom now. I want you to tilt your chin up, and now I want you to kind of like, yes, just a little bit. Good. Excuse me one second. Okay, now we're going to do the bottom. So I'm going to have Sophie lift her chin up and maybe down a little bit. Good. Okay, and then give me nice wide surprise eyes, Sophie. Great. And I'm just coming down ever so slightly on the bottom of her lashes here. And sometimes actually I might need to stand up for this one. It's easier for me to come down. I find the end of the mascara wand is the most effective. I just kind of brush it along the bottom. Nice surprise wide eyes. Good, Soph. Very good. Rather than take the whole thing and try to get all those little baby lashes, you can just run it right along the bottom and it catches it beautifully. Okay, great. Here, lean in and show them. Good. Excellent. All right. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, now we're going to be doing Sophie's eyes to completion. You always do the eyes first before you do the whole face. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the base color for her smoky eye. So I had pointed out several different palettes in Target that I thought were appropriate, and a lot of them had a very light color. This is my favorite color. It's kind of like a linen. It's almost like a skin tone, exactly like what Sophie just said. I think of it like a concealer, and I always start with something that looks like this. So can you close your eyes for me, Sophie? Now, I didn't get a tremendous amount of mascara around Sophie's eye, but if I had, this would have been the perfect time for me to go through and clean up. You always want to make sure that the mascara is dry before you attempt to clean it up. It is, believe it or not, a lot easier to get dry mascara off of a face than wet mascara. Wet mascara just smears. So back to our light kind of whitish or peachy neutral eyeshadow. This is going to provide a base. It's also going to take care of any natural discolorations. A lot of us have very darkened areas of our eye, shadows in and around our eye, and this is going to take care of that for us. It's going to just almost airbrush all of the natural discolorations around the eye and gives it a really nice base for what we're going to do next. And we're going to do just a basic, like a good smoky eye. You know, these 12-year-olds, this is a real appropriate look. If you have like a, you know, an 8 or a 9-year-old, you can back off on the intensity a little bit, but still, these girls, you know, defining their features only looks better on stage. So, you know, they're always going to need more makeup than you think, but obviously the older they get, the more you're going to want to pump up the intensity. So Sophie, just tilt your chin down just a little bit for me and just for the camera. Very good. Okay, so the next I'm taking more of like a neutral. This is a taupe color, and I love this color because it has a tiny bit of shimmer. We definitely don't want to use anything that's too sparkly on stage because it tends to backfire on us, and it gives us, it looks a little too glowy and shiny, and then it makes us look a little bit weird. Now, one of the things that I'm starting to see, which is another reason why we don't put any of our foundation on, is I use a mineral makeup because it's very healthy for the skin, and I'm getting it all over her cheeks. Another reason why I'm not going to put any of her foundation on until I'm done with all of her eye makeup, and especially when you use a mineral makeup and when you use a nice brush set like this, it tends to get all over the place. So that's why you see I'm kind of doing what's called a stippling technique. I'm kind of pushing it into her eye as opposed to just flicking it. If I was flicking it onto her face, it would get even worse. There would be dust absolutely everywhere. So then in order to get that off, can you close your eyes for me, Sophie? Good girl. I just take this lovely little brush and very gently just kind of wipe some of it off. Now, in terms of the color that I'm choosing for her lid, I'm choosing a light color. All of the shadow and definition is going to come with our next color. I use a lighter color on the lid because if we put too dark of a color on her lid, it's going to make it look like she got punched in the eye. So I'm going to show you where we're going to use the darker color, and that's coming up next. I have this lovely kind of smoky, chalky color, which it's like a charcoal color, which I absolutely love. And this is my favorite part. This is where we really get the drama in the eye. This brush that I have is probably my favorite tool, and I use it constantly. It's pretty easy to go get a brush like this when you're doing your shopping at Target. Look for something that looks like this. This is how you're going to achieve this look. Sophie, if you could just lean a little bit forward and close your eyes. I want to point out something to everybody. We're going to be making what's called a V eye. And if you can imagine, there's this little invisible line. Actually, tilt your head just a little bit. Good. If you can imagine drawing a line from the end of the eye here to the end of the eyebrow. Pretend there's this invisible line here, but it's going to stop right here. So right over Sophie's eyeball is another line. So we're going to be drawing a line here and here, and it creates a V. And so this is how we're going to create our look. So here, Sophie, I'm going to turn your chair around just so that everybody can watch me create this nice V look on your eye. Okay, so what I do is I draw along this invisible line right there. I kind of use this sharp brush and I use this darker color because what it's doing is it's going to extend up the shape of this eye so that there's some drama. And you can see I'm just kind of patting the color in here and there. So open your eye for them so they can see what that looks like. Here we go. I hope that it's easy to see in the light. Here, I'll help you too. There you go. And that's all I did was you can come back if you want, put a little bit more in, but really you're just drawing that little V right there. Okay, and then I want to come in and do it on the other side. Sometimes these houses, I don't know about your house. My house has terrible light. So I hope that we're giving you good enough light in this video that you can see. But do the best you can at home. There will be people running around who've been doing this for years. I myself will be there for dress rehearsal, also for the recital nights, and there will be other parents who do have a lot of experience with this. But what we really wanted to do with these videos was empower you to feel like you had a good basic understanding of what it is that we do in setting up the ballet face so that you can do your best. And then with more practice comes more confidence. And if you need help the night of the recital, there will be people to help you. All right, Sophie, that looks good. Okay, great. Now, the next step in creating drama in this look is adding a little bit of either eyeliner or liquid eyeliner. Now, if you're comfortable with a pencil, I have a nice soft pencil here that I like to use. And this is very easy. What you want to do is you're going to accentuate the top line right here. Good girl, Soph. Okay, so what I do, and my pencil is not really a wax pencil that needs to be sharpened. It's more of an emollient. And as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm just, turn a little bit so they can watch what I'm doing. I've got my hands all balanced on her face, and I'm not trying to draw one continuous line. I'm going sketch, sketch, sketch. And I haven't started at one side of her face. I've started like, you know, right in the middle. I mean, I haven't started at one part of her eye. I've started right in the middle because it would be really intimidating to have to draw one continuous line. I'm going to go back the other way, Sophie. It's a lot easier to draw lots and lots and lots and lots of little lines than it is to draw one big long line. Now, the other thing that we want to do with this is accentuate this lovely tail that makes her look like we've dramatized her eyelashes. This is that kind of Adele 1960s flip that everyone's got going. So you just kind of pull it out just a little bit. Here we go. Let's see if you can turn just a little bit there. And what I did was I just pulled the line out just a little bit. Very good. Okay. And I'm going to do it on the other side. Very good. And on the other side, since I'm coming in from this way, actually I start from the outside because this is the way I'm handed. So it's kind of opposite of what I just did, but it works for me. Okay, and then when she opens, I can see, oh, you know what? There's a little bit of bare spots here and there. So then I just go back in and try to fill in. You want to get as close to the lash line as possible. That's the nice thing about this little sketching technique, is that you can always air into the lash because they're already black anyway. Now, I made a mistake. I have a little bit of, I got some eyeliner. Can you open up for me? Open, Sophie. I got a little bit of eyeliner down in her face, but again, I didn't put any foundation on her face, so it's very easy for me to correct my mistake. And this is one of the reasons why we do the eyes to completion before we do anything else. Okay, looks beautiful, Sophie. Sit back, good girl. Okay, now, for those of you brave enough to follow with a liquid eyeliner, you can always go over what you just did. I'll just show you really briefly. I have a liquid eyeliner. Liquid eyeliners, I love them. They really are very easy to use. I'm not even gonna do the whole thing. I think that my pencil liner was enough, but what I'm gonna do is just finish her wings right here. So I'll start maybe, you gotta warn them, it's gonna be cold. I always tell the girls, it's gonna feel cold and wet, because the last thing you want them to do is flinch. And then you just paint on that little bit, and then you say, don't open your eye. And you have to sit there and kind of, so I just painted a line, and you can see it definitely dramatized it a little bit more. So I'm going to have her stay just like that. Blow, 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 blow. Keep your eyes down. Good girl. Okay. And then one more on the other side. Keep your eyes closed just a little bit longer. And actually, I'm going to come at her right here from the top of her head, because this is where, cold and wet, this is where I'm most comfortable coming from on this side, because I feel like it'll give me the most stability. Okay, cold and wet, cold and wet, cold and wet. Okay, good. I got two nice lines painted right there. Okay, let them see you, right, tilt your chin down. Let them see you while you're drying right there. Very good, Soph. Okay, now, the worst thing that happens is she opens her eyes, she gets liquid liner up here underneath her eyebrows, and you kind of have to pull it out. But I think you might be able to open this eye. If you can open one eye, can you open one eye? I mean, not your right eye. It's going to be wet. Okay. So one of the things we should talk about before she opens her eyes, this is the perfect time, is some of you might have daughters who have pale eyebrows. Sophie's eyebrows are pretty good and pretty dark, but if you have a blonde who does not have, who has eyebrows that are very either thin or might have some patches in them. Most of us do. Most of us have, I do. I have very thin kind of eyebrows that are missing hairs here in the front of my eye. They kind of disappear. On stage, that can become very profound. We don't want to make, you know, these children look very painted up on stage. We want to make them look like they have normal features. So I'm just going to use Sophie to demonstrate. This back being my favorite tool here. I just take a regular eyeshadow. Sophie's a brunette, so I would use a brown. If I had a dirty blonde, what I would do is take a light brown that was maybe the darkest part of their hair, and I would just come in and pat in some eyeshadow to fill in the eyebrows. And it really makes a very big difference on stage to give a very finished, here, turn it towards me just a little bit, babe. It makes a very big difference when they're on stage to give that finished and polished look. So consider whether or not your daughter might need some eyeshadow powder to give her some help with her eyebrows. Okay, look at that. There you go. Beautiful. Okay, so eyes are done. They look lovely, fabulous. They look dramatic and beautiful. Now we are finally ready to move on with the rest of our face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get ready with my foam wedge. I like using foam wedges. These things are really cheap. They only cost about $1 something at, you know, the drugstore. By this point, I've spent so much time on her face that, you know, rubbing my fingers all over her features just feels a little odd to me. You get a lot of control when you use these wedges. So all you would do is you squirt, put your foundation, however you need to, on here. And then this way, you know, you can just put this exactly where you need it to go. And I'm going to have you look up, Sophie, because I need to be able to get this under your eye and not go anywhere near it. Okay, good. Also, you know, we want the foundation to be a little bit of a heavier look. This is stage night, so for girls who have blemishes or who have discolorations on their face, this is the night to definitely load up a little bit on the foundation. And this technique right here that I'm using with the foam wedge will definitely help you get a very airbrushed look, a very uniform look. This is called stippling. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of patting it onto her face. So, you know, another thing that happens at this time of year is people get sunburned. You go out and you get like a sunglass tan, or you get a red sunburn on your nose. So if that happens to your child, this is definitely something that can help even out any uneven skin tone. So if you have difficulty finding a foundation that's right for you, definitely some of the people at these stores can help you out. You know, it's worth it for you to go to a place and get a quality product. You know, even a good foundation is no more than $25 or $30 sometimes at a place like Sephora, and then they can give you help in picking one out. So I would recommend doing something like that. Okay, so here we go. Sophie, you are foundationed. That's right, and she's well versed in knowing how to put her lips in, so I can really get it all over her face here. Very good. And don't forget to kind of bring it down under their chin a little bit so it blends. You don't want it to have that big line. You don't have to bring it all the way down their chin, but you definitely want to wrap it down and make sure that you've kind of feathered it in a little bit. Okay, very good. Foundation on. We are nearing the finish line, folks, believe it or not. Okay, last step. We've got cheeks and then lips. So I want to dispel any myths about blush that you guys might have. Blush and bronzer are the two elements that we use to create the cheek look. Now, blush does not go all the way up the side of the face like you might think it does. That is actually where bronzer goes. The blush goes only in one place on the cheek, and that is right on the apples of the cheeks. And Sophie knows exactly where it goes because she's getting into blush. She's getting into blush position, which is giving me her biggest smile. So you got to tell your daughter to smile big for you. And I'm going to paint these little red circles on her cheeks, and then I'm going to blend it in. So the first thing you do is you want to get the red circle right on the apple of the cheek, right where you would blush your cheeks. That's why it's called blush. What we do next is we're going to use a bronzer. And you can see right now it looks a little ridiculous on her because I haven't blended yet. I will blend in a minute. I have my bronzer here, and I've given a number of options for bronzer if you don't already own this product. And there's some very affordable bronzers available at Target. This is my favorite product. I run around on recital night putting bronzer on everybody. So what you want to do is you want to find the cheekbone, which is right here, and then you want to go right below it. So you find the bone, go right below it into that meaty part. And I often tell the bigger girls to suck their cheekbones in. Exactly. And then right along that line, you're going to draw a line just like that. So right now I've given her a big brown line and a big ridiculous pink dot on her face. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to blend that. So I'm going to just do this on the other side, and then I'll be able to blend it. Very good, Soph. Right there. Good. Okay. Now, I know she looks like kind of a scary mannequin right now, like a Barbie doll, Harlequin, or a Barbie. But this, believe it or not, on stage will look very normal. So now I'm taking same brush, and I'm going to come here and start to blend it all the way up. Actually, let me come around on this side and do this. Now, if you get to this point and you're thinking, man, I really just did put too much on them, you can always take a different brush, or, you know, if you have some mineral powder or something. I have sometimes, you know, even myself just gone to a person and been like, wow, I really just overdid that one. But, you know, I'd rather, you can either, if you underdo it, you know, you can always put more on, or you can sit here and blend it and mix a lighter powder in just to get a better, more natural look. Usually the makeup will kind of melt. A good mineral makeup will kind of blend to your skin. But there you go. So now when Sophie is on stage, she will have a nice shadow under her cheeks. You don't want to take too much of the definition away. When you're looking, usually when you look at good stage makeup, you should see kind of a brown line. And then when they're on stage, what you see is a beautiful cheekbone because you've created that shadow. So finally, the moment we've all been waiting for, we've got the lips. Now I use a lip liner when I'm doing this look because it's easier for me to get the color on and to get good coverage, and also because I have one. Actually, loosen up just a little bit. If you make it too tight, poor Sophie has braces here, so it can be a little challenging. You don't have to get a lip liner, but the advantage is that you get less bleeding. Red lipstick is kind of famous for bleeding, so you will get less bleeding with that. Now, the thing about the lipstick color, one second, hon. The thing about the lipstick color is that it really does need to be a true blue red. And when I went walking through Target to look for a good red, the good news is I found a lot, and I tried to put several different color names across several brands. Here, so that's the outline across several brands on the list, so that, you know, all of our families are not competing for the same, you know, 2 different colors. But this is mine, and this is a real blue red. I hope the colors are coming across in these videos to be rather true. But when you look at it, it should look like primary red. It shouldn't look like pink red. It shouldn't look like brown red. It should not look like coral or purple red. It should look like reddy, red, red, red. Okay, well, there's the finished product. We hope this was helpful. Good luck to you, and we'll see you all at the recital. Thanks for watching.